Okay, hello students. Welcome to our final live broadcast on the TOEIC test. Today we are again focusing on the reading, but I want to sort of remind you all a little bit about the things that we've talked about over the past 3 weeks. Hopefully the past 3 weeks have helped you all in thinking about your preparation for the TOEIC test. And one of the first things that I want to mention is that preparing for the TOEIC test and preparing for other proficiency tests should not be a substitute for preparing your English for more general use. Preparing for the proficiency test is a good way to improve your English. It is a good way to meet the requirements for whatever you want to do, be it a job, interview, raise, maybe promotion, or if you simply needed to graduate or you need it as requirements for studying abroad, for being part of an exchange program, etc. No matter what the reason is, okay, this process will help you, I'm sure. But even more so, you should practice your English simply because it is an important life skill, especially nowadays. And so let me remind you again that preparing for the TOEIC test, first is that you need a reason. You also need a timeline. And you also need to give yourself 2 chances. Okay, that is the biggest suggestion that I can give you. Give yourself some time and effort. Please be able to do this. When you're preparing, no matter for what kind of proficiency test, make sure that you nail down the important things. Make sure that your vocabulary is good. And this includes, of course, your phrases, right? Understanding English phrasal verbs and things like this. But also make sure that your grammar is up to speed. And these are the building blocks for whatever English proficiency test. So make sure you know your vocabulary skills. Make sure you know your grammar skills are up to speed. And above all else, make sure that you find a way to use English day by day. Okay? Make sure that you have a plan that involves studying and using English in a way that is interesting for you. Okay, so watch English films with English subtitles, read English novels, read English newspapers, listen to English news, whatever it is, right? Listen to English songs, read English comic books, whatever it is. Make sure that you have a contingency plan for your English. Make sure that you focus on your English abilities and use them in your day-to-day life. And that's the best way to improve, actually. Now, once you are able to do this, I hope that it will help you to prepare for the TOEIC test, and you will have some basic skills before focusing on the test. I'll remind you again that the process of the TOEIC test is a long one. Okay? It takes a while. It's more than 2 hours. It's very tiring. You have to answer 200 questions, 100 listening questions, 100 reading questions. And once you are able to do that, once you realize this, you realize that it is a very tiring experience. Okay? It is an experience that is actually it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of stamina. You have to be able to sit and complete the whole exam, 200 questions. Now, a few suggestions for preparing for the listening test. Let me remind you what the listening test entails. So, the listening test involves 4 parts. Okay? You have to answer questions about images. You need to answer short answer questions, and you need to answer questions about short or longer conversations and monologues, talks. So there are 4 parts, and the best advice that I can give you is that you need to find a tempo or rhythm in preparing for and answering the listening part of the test. You need to be able to stay ahead of the game. When the questions are being asked for one part, make sure that you are able to start looking at the questions for the next part in the exam. And that's how you keep up. It's simply, unless you react very, very fast, that is, it's not the best way to deal with the test. If you read the question only when the question is being asked, okay, that's not the best way. And so therefore, that is my first suggestion. Make sure that you practice and play out the tempo of the listening test. And of course, the same general guidelines apply for the longer sessions. So the short talks and the short conversation, make sure you can identify the purpose, the speaker and listener, the interlocutors. Make sure that you are able to identify these quickly. Okay, once you have all the bases covered, that will help push your score higher. Now the reading involves also 100 questions in 75 minutes. It's also very tiring because there's no break between the listening and the reading. So taking the TOEIC test, like I said, is very much about stamina. Okay? It's very much about how much energy you have and keeping up that energy. Okay? And that is the most important thing in your preparation for the TOEIC test. And so therefore, I would encourage you to take a diagnostic test first. And then every week, every couple of weeks, make sure that you practice consistently. Practice taking the test from top to bottom. Okay, 100 listening questions followed by 100 reading questions within the time frame that the test requires. Make sure you practice this more than 5 times. I would suggest at least 5 times. Please do it. Okay, that will help you in your preparation. Now today we will talk about the reading part of the test a little more. I'm trying to get this software to work. If it doesn't work, that's okay, but we will do our best. Now the reading part, it's very important to remember that the reading part of the test is split into 3 parts, and the 3 parts are actually not very equal. You have sentence completion, okay, incomplete sentences where you fill a word in. You also have longer text completion, so you have to read between the lines, read in context, and then fill in the word. And those are the easy parts. Okay, the difficult part is the longer part 7, the last part, reading comprehension. Many, many questions, a lot of reading, different kinds of texts, and different kinds of questions. And those parts are the most difficult. The suggestion that I can give for you, and a reminder, is that you are not allowed to mark the test book. You are not allowed to mark the test sheet when you are taking the test. But when you are practicing, it's fine. When you are practicing, get into the habit of making some good notes, making some important markers, make some important marks on your text when you are preparing for it. I highly recommend practicing using a paper text. Okay, print some, borrow one from the library or purchase one, print out the questions, and again, make some copies and then draw on your text. We talked about some of the ways you can draw on your text, some ways you can help mark your text so that it helps you in your preparation. And some ways to do this is, of course, to check the framework of the text. Make sure you understand the context of the text, the purpose of the text. And sometimes remember that in the TOEIC test, there's more than one, actually. You have more than one text. Sometimes you have to read an advertisement and an email, like an email report together, that's possible. Sometimes you have to read an advertisement and an inquiry for information. or an email requesting information, something like this. That's also possible. And so make sure that you can very confidently nail down what the texts are about and what the questions are asking, and therefore you will be able to deal with it. Okay, it doesn't work. All right. Okay, I'll keep talking. Something that I really want to focus on today, hopefully what I'm trying to do is I want to show you the process of what it looks like when you're taking the test on paper. Okay, so what does the test look like on paper? And how are we able to really focus in and drill in on the question? What does it look like actually when it's printed in your test booklet? We'll try our best to show it today, but it doesn't work, that's okay. It works similarly when you are doing it on the computer. And of course there are benefits to presenting, to working on a computer. One of the things that I would encourage you all to do when you are practicing for the test is to try doing it using a computer. Our library provides a lot of resources. I encourage you to use it. Use the Easy Test platform. Use the Easy Test platform. It's not always ideal in its use. There are some parts that are not that clear, there's always room for improvement, of course. However, using a computer to practice will save you time. You don't have to spend time grading yourself. You don't have to spend time. You don't really have to spend time thinking too much about reusing the questions, because the computer will regenerate the questions for you in a different order. So there are many benefits to using the computer platform in your test, when you are preparing for the test. Okay, so are there any questions from the audience so far? Okay, I've reviewed everything. I think I've reviewed most of the points that we've talked about over the last 5 sessions. No questions from the audience. Is anyone watching, Jimmy?
Yeah, 9 people.
There are 9 people watching. Are there any questions from the 9 people who are watching?
Not yet.
Okay, not yet. Okay, students, I'd like you to do something now. If you are in front of the computer watching, I'd like you to open the Easy Test platform. Okay, so we will show the Easy Test platform again. As we are testing out, we are confirming our technology here. Try our best to do our technology here. Okay, so okay, right. So let's do the Easy Test platform first. Okay, thank you. So the new TOEIC test, once you come in, so let me just remind students, if you're watching for the first time, let me remind you one more time, how do we get here? So from the school website, okay, 辅大首页, from the school website, please click, 不是学区图书馆, okay, 校园资源，或者是寄图书馆，然后校园资源图书馆。图书馆 ，Alright， 图书馆下面有一个资料库，在资料库这里呢，你就直接搜寻 TOEIC， 然后呢，这是第一个 ，New TOEIC 模拟测验系统，可以点进来，然后可以校外连线，这样就用这个图书馆的账密进来，这边有一个 New TOEIC 模拟测验，这里练习 ，Alright。我们平常练习的时候呢，可以用单元练习，你也可以模拟正式测验哈，两种方式都可以，可以随机，可以混题。可是我觉得单元练习是非常常用的一个方式。Okay, yesterday we practiced the incomplete sentences. Okay, so we had a taste of what the incomplete sentences looked like. We also practiced the text completion. We practiced one reading comprehension. Let's try a few more. Okay, let's do 2 to 3 more reading comprehension. So let's do the second one here. All right. Okay, so questions 1 to 3 refer to the following article. So this is the article. So it's very clear that this is what? This is an email, right? Okay, note some important details. Who is writing? From who? The date, the time, and the subject. Okay, notice these details. Dear, please do not respond to this message. This message is to notify you that your product has been paid for and shipped. Okay, so it's a letter of confirmation. Let's take a look at the questions. Which email address belongs to the customer? What should the recipient do if he or she has a question about the shipment of this package? What can we infer based on the email? So infer means you need to read the whole thing and then make an estimate, right? You need to make an educated inference. So which email address belongs to the customer? Obviously, it's silver LI, right? INGS. So this one, right? D, that's obvious, right? You don't need to read the whole thing to know this answer. Okay, at hotmail.com, right? At Hotmail, that's correct. Okay. For questions about shipping, please email Mr. White at whiteuship@usn.com. So therefore, please do not respond to this one. Okay, ushipnow@usn.com. You shouldn't respond to this email directly. You should write to this email if you have a question about shipping. A tracking number for your parcel was requested. Your tracking number is this one. You will receive 2 further emails. One will come when your package arrives at the destination. Another will come when the information is processed. Your package will be sent to a post office near your address. The second email will delineate information about that post office. This is an international package. All international packages will be subject to international rates and additional charges. For more information about this, please visit USN's website. Sincerely, the USN team. Okay, so this one, no problem. Next one. What should the recipient do if he or she has a question about the shipment of this package? So it's very clear, right? For questions about shipping, please email Mr. White. So you have to write to Mr. White, right? It's very clear, right? If you have a question. So what can we infer based on the email? Okay. Remember what I said. Okay, 记得我们讲的哈，全对才算对，可能对不算对，有机会都不算，确定对，全对才是对。So the recipient has already bought the package, the product. Excuse me. Yes. Why do we know this? Because we say your product has been paid for and shipped. So the purchase has been made. It's still just being shipped. So this is a good answer. 先看着这个哈。The international shipping rate has recently changed. Okay, that might be true, maybe, but there's no way of knowing in the text. There's no way of knowing from the email whether the international rate has recently changed. So we don't know. Okay, maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. So B 不是。The recipient will not receive further emails. No. It's very clear in the text that the recipient will receive 2 further emails, right? You will receive 2 further emails. Okay, so obviously this is not correct. The package has yet to be shipped. Okay, no. The package has already been shipped, has been paid for and shipped. So A remains the best answer. Okay, so we choose A. So that D, C, A 就解决了。OK， 再说一次哈，全对才算对，有可能对不算对，要非常非常确定才算对。So this is an email, right? This is an email that gives information. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Questions 4 to 7 refer to the following article. Okay, so to from subject date. Okay, so this looks like a mail, right? This looks like a printed mail. It doesn't seem, or it could be an email. That's possible, but it's not that clear. Let's take a look at what is being said to the kitchen staff from the general manager. I see. So therefore, it's a within company email. Thorough cleaning, and this is the date. Sometimes they'll ask you questions about the date or the subject, etc. So make sure you read the information. All right, questions. How much will the kitchen staff be paid to do the extra cleaning? What is the rate for extra cleaning? When will Mr. Clarkson enforce the new cleanliness policy? So this is the writer, Mr. Clarkson. When will he enforce the new cleanliness policy? Take a look at the choices. Due to the new policy, when will the restaurant close? Okay, so when will the restaurant close under the new policy? Why does Mr. Clarkson think the bad smell has developed? Okay, so there are reasons here. We can make an inference later. Let's take a look at the reading. Dear kitchen staff, I've received a few emails from certain individuals who will not be named. It has come to my attention that the kitchen has not been cleaned properly lately. This is unfortunate, and a bad odor has started to develop around the refrigerator and sink area. The stink has apparently been around since the beginning of last month and has only gotten worse. Even a customer has complained, and that, as you should know, is the threshold. I am currently away on business, but on Monday there will be a new cleanliness policy. Okay, on Monday, right? On Monday. Remember the question? First, every month we will conduct a deep cleaning. This means we will move everything out of its normal place and sweep, mop, and sometimes bleach those hard-to-reach areas. In addition, every other day after 9 p.m., we will clean each part of the kitchen. Operation hours will remain the same. You will still close, we will still close at 8:30 p.m. as always, and we will do the same general cleaning first. The first few days, we may have to spend more time on this, but you will be compensated for it at your usual hourly wage of $8.50, $8.50. Together with the kitchen manager, I will write up a list of things to clean. Expect to see this list on Monday. I appreciate your time. Best, Mr. Clarkson. So, how much will the kitchen staff be paid to do the extra cleaning? So, your usually rate, right? Your usually hourly rate of $8.50, okay, per hour. So, hourly rate is made的小时号. When will Mr. Clarkson enforce the new cleanliness policy? Monday, right? Okay, so right here. On Monday, there will be a new cleanliness policy. So on Monday and after Monday. Okay? On Monday. So there's no indication of anything else, right? Due to the new policy, when will the restaurant close? At the usual time, right? We will still close at 8:30 p.m. as always. Always. Operation hours will remain the same. So 检查一次 at the usual time. Okay, why does Mr. Clarkson think the bad smell has developed? Okay, this is a little bit more tricky. Is it the refrigerator? Is it because the kitchen hasn't been cleaned at all? Because of employee negligence, or due to no extra cleaning being done? So let's take a look. It has come to my attention that the kitchen has not been cleaned properly lately. This is unfortunate, and a bad odor has started to develop around the refrigerator and sink area. So what is the answer? Why does the bad smell develop? A, B, C, or D? This is a little difficult, so I'll ask the students at home and here. Is it simply because of the refrigerator? It is, right? There is a refrigerator and the sink area. But that's not the best answer, right? 全对不算对. Is it because the kitchen hasn't been cleaned at all? No, he says that it hasn't been cleaned properly lately. Doesn't mean like it's not being cleaned, but it hasn't been cleaned properly. Is it because there's no extra cleaning? That's possible, but it's not the best answer. Basically what he's saying is, you haven't been doing your job recently. right, has not been cleaned properly. It should be, but it hasn't been. So therefore, the answer is employee negligence. Okay, so the answer is a little bit ambiguous. It is a little bit hidden. But I think if you think about it, C is the best answer. Okay, is that clear? So far so good? Okay, so let me remind you all about some problems here. First of all, you need to know the details. You need to pay attention to some details. How much will the kitchen staff be paid to do the extra cleaning? So here you will notice that it's $8.50 an hour. So this is a detailed question. This is a detailed question. This one as well. Okay, so new cleanliness policy after Monday is a question about detail. This one here is a little bit more difficult. When will the restaurant close? You have to read very clearly what it says. Okay. 很多学生在读的时候因为怕赶时间，100题做不完，赶时间，所以就扫过去。可是当你扫过去的时候，你对这一题来说，你要不会答错，要不就是你会看太快，你会不确定。那不确定的结果是什么呢？就你会得回去了再看一次。OK， 我的建议还是第一次就从头到尾一个字一个字看，然后把它看过一次再说。就第一次先扫过去看。这一天的目标这篇的主旨还有结构大结构。可是你在做题目的时候，还是要从第一个字读到最后一个字，然后细节就可以推论这样。那当然这个的话就是要用推理的方法推论。Okay, let's do one more, okay, and then we will take a break. Questions 8 to 11 refer to the following article. Biometrics in schools, pass or fail. Okay, so that's just 标题 fail. So biometrics fail. In addition, okay. Question 8. What is the main argument of the article? Okay, 主旨题来了。What is the best way to describe the writer's tone? Okay, 这个要下一个判断哈。In the author's opinion, how might a parent react to the use of biometric data in schools? Okay, so this is a detail here. Why is the author concerned about TFBDS programs? And so we need to take a look at the details to know. But think about these questions. Main argument, tone, author's opinion, okay, so one of the details, the parent's reaction, data, and then author's concern. Okay, so 4 questions, okay, let's take a look. So fail, schools in Dubai should not be allowed to install databases that use biometric data from students. Doing so infringes upon students' civil rights by compromising their safety and privacy, and also disrupts the relationships teachers and parents have with school. Parents have already raised concerns about younger children having been threatened to remove their children from schools. In addition, a trend in Dubai shows that high-tech equipment is being used to monitor society in an unethical way. This equipment can scan retinas, reproduce molds of facial contours, measure hand and fingerprints, hands in a more detailed way, determine patterns of body movement. Growth in technology inside school now makes many wary about what the school environment will turn into. There are certain civil liberties at stake, and they must be considered in depth before schools can be allowed to install experimental high-tech equipment. According to current child and data protection laws, Technology for the Benefit of Dubai Schools, TFBDS, okay, so we know what this is now. Programs that a few schools want to implement could be illegal. There has been no formal authoritative report, and all studies are thus far experimental. Future schools and the greater community must take care and understand the risks involved. Okay, a little bit difficult, but let's take a look. What is the main argument of the article? The growth of technology is an interesting topic for students. No. It is okay to monitor societal behavior with high-tech equipment. No. Collecting biometric data in schools raises issues of safety and privacy. Yes, right. Collecting here, compromising their safety and privacy, right? So in school raises issues. Child data protection laws are not strict enough. No, there's no indication of this. So the best answer is C. Okay, the best answer is C. When you are reading through this, if you have any problems, 假设你平常在练习的话，有问题的话，不会就圈起来，但是还是试着去把答案做出来啊。如果不确定的话，还是试着看。So what is the best way to describe the writer's tone? Is he cautionary? Is he content? Is he sad or is he offended? What is the best way? Sad? No, I don't think he is. The tone is sad. Certainly, he's not content, right? So B 跟 C 不选。Is he offended or is he cautionary? I believe he is saying, don't do this because it could be illegal. Don't do this. Don't do this. It's not, I am offended. It's more, we should be careful, right? We should be careful. 所以不是说 offended 是绝对错，而是 cautionary 更好。那可以哈，在选的时候呢，一样，全对才算对。那在两个都可能的情况，选一个好一点，选一个比较好。So the answer is A. In the author's opinion, how might a parent react to the use of biometric data in schools? How might a parent react to the use of biometric data in schools? So where does it talk about parents? Here, right? It disrupts the relationship teachers and parents have with the school. So he or she might discuss civil rights with his or her child. Okay, that's not in the article. Certainly that's possible. That's not in the article. He or she might monitor his or her child more closely. He or she might put the child into a TFBDS program. He or she might withdraw his or her child from the school. So how might a parent react to the use of biometric data? Okay, so here it says it could be illegal, right? It could be illegal. So, and an even threaten to remove their children from the schools. The detail is here. So the answer should be remove, 就是 withdraw, 就是让学生离开这所学校转学等等。Yes? Okay, so the answer is D. Last question. Why is the author concerned about TFBDS programs? The programs are spreading. The programs are too experimental. They might be unlawful. And authorities in schools do not want these programs. So, according to current child and data protection laws, technology for the benefit of Dubai schools programs that a few schools want to implement could be illegal. Illegal means unlawful, right? They might be, they could be, so they might be unlawful. 这边讲一个小重点。很多时候呢，这些题目就是换句话说，换一种方式去问。In English, we call this paraphrasing. So practice your paraphrasing skills. Know what kind of words are similar that go together, and in doing so, you will be fine. All right. So those are the answers. Okay. Not too hard, right? Not too hard. A little bit dense here, a little bit difficult, but I think it's still doable. Okay. Are there any questions from the audience? No. Any questions from the readers? No. No one. Who's that one? Okay, so let's take a break, okay, 5 to 10 minutes. When we come back, we will continue with our course.